Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Run the Seam Show is back with
Back,
a
baby. Back, baby.
UFC feature for the fans. We'll be getting to college basketball eventually, but for now, we have. What do
That's
you?
my bad. That's just my bad. Straight up. I know. Look, I turned 30. It's been a long season and whatever. Okay. Hey,
Happy birthday, Tyler.
thank you. Dick Vitale liked one of the show's tweets.
That was big. It was when I
We're
was in
still making
Mexico,
moves,
too.
just in different ways. Okay. Kev, let's talk UFC.
All right. Also, dude, I had a dream about you, Tyler. I had a dream you moved to California and everyone was making fun of me because I was bummed. So, anyway, neither here nor there, but I've got my
A lot
nice
going
beer
on
to
there,
start
Kev. A
this.
lot going on.
So, we are going to be looking at UFC 326 live from
That's
Las
right.
Vegas, Nevada this weekend, Saturday. The main card will kick off at 9 p.m. Now that we're on the Paramount deal, main cards start an hour earlier, so you can watch the main event by midnight. And we do have a great main event coming up.
We do.
The rest of the card, I'm sure, Tyler, I don't know if you've came across this in your research, but it's not the most stacked card. I'll be honest. There's UFC 327 is going to be stacked from top to bottom. This is a legendary main event, but we're going to be digging to draw interest into
There
the.
are guys that when I was doing my brief research that I enjoyed watching, but there were some that I watched prior and it was like watching paint dry with some of their fights. So I agree with you in some senses.
Yes. All right. Let me see if I can get us to go to the next slide here. Yep. And here are the fights we will be breaking down. We
Let's
have the
go.
entire main card, the featured prelim, and then the card opener, which is what we're going to get to right now. Tyler, did you watch that video I sent you?
I've said this to you before, man. Flopping pisses me off no matter who you are. And looking at the comments on this vid, tell me if I'm wrong, Kev. It seems like Holloway, or what's his name?
Bellato.
Mulatto flopped here.
That's what everyone says. And man, I don't agree with it, but I've not found somebody else who shares my opinion. If he did flop, which seems like he might have based on the common sentiment,
Right.
he really committed to it. He started wrestling with the ref. It's not shown in this GIF here, but he started grappling with the ref. It went on for about a minute until he finally came to. Yeah,
Now,
not.
but Kev, here's where, and I'm sorry to cut you off, man, but the thought's drilling at me. I did some research about the rules of DQs. Would that have been a DQ even if he got knocked out?
Yeah, so that's the other thing that's confusing about this. I think because it was still in the first round, they were able to just call the contest off. If this had happened in the second or third round, I think they would have had to, give the win to Bellato because he was DQ'd by an illegal strike. But
How is
they
that
just
an
called it
illegal
a no
strike? That's what I
contest.
don't get.
Oh, because his knee was down. So you cannot
It's
kick.
the knee to the face roll. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was his foot, not his knee.
Well, knee, foot, you can only punch a guy's head when they're on the ground. He can't. Yeah.
I thought it was just knee, and maybe that's why I was getting confused because I
Mhm.
did do research about all of the things you can't do in the ring and all that, and it wasn't making sense to me. But now you
Yeah.
cleared it up. Thank
I
you,
guess the
Captain Kevin.
correct term, it was an illegal up kick. So, with
Okay.
that out of the way, we'll get into the
Yes.
breakdown of this fight. Luke Fernandez versus Rodolfo Bellato. Luke Fernandez this is going to be his UFC debut. He got his contract on the Contender Series. Yeah, he's 6-0. It's his first ever UFC fight. Like I said, he got his contract a few months ago fighting on the Contender Series. 15 seconds he got a finish via ground and pound over
Mhm.
Rafael Pergentino.
Yeah, dude, I saw that. He wasn't
Yeah,
missing. He wasn't a
no, it
missing
was
single punch.
was impressive. And Rafael was undefeated at the time. However, since that fight, he's lost another one. So this is
Yep.
a real Luke Fernandez is a promising prospect, but it's one of those where it's how much are you going to trust the prospect? Because for all of his faults, for his acting accolades, Rodolfo has faced some legit competition. I mean, Paul Craig, the guy who upkicked him, he's a UFC vet. He took Jimmy Crute to a draw. I believe Jimmy Crute now he's on a current 2-fight win streak. Yeah, and so it's going to be experience versus potential in this one.
Mhm.
I think we don't have to spend too much time on it. I will give my pick, and then Tyler, you can give your thoughts.
Yeah,
Um,
nah. Look, my thoughts are it's kind of like how high up can you go before you fall? I mean, look, there's a vibes aspect to this a little bit with me making a pick here. I think that, trailing, having to fight off allegations of you becoming a flopper is tough. And then you're going up against this kid who's a kid. I'm the same age as both of these gentlemen now. Thank you, Kevin. I know you were about to go there. Yeah. So that being said, I mean, you just got to go down the list here. The 100% strike accuracy for significant strikes, like it, the kid's not missing. I'm taking the kid, and I'm gonna take the kid in a knockout situation.
all right, and yes, Luke Fernandez has won all 6 of his fights by finish. So I, on the other hand, I'm giving Bellato a redemption arc in my own head. I guess in his own head, that's the only people who know what really happened in that DQ. But I'm going with Bellato. I think he gets it done by decision.
Okay.
All right. Now on to our next fight. Oh, here you go, YouTube short viewers.
Attention. Thank you for watching, guys.
Hope
Hey,
you like the Zen.
you're gonna check out. Okay, wait. Thank you so much for watching. You loyal followers, you are kind and you are beautiful. Be sure to check out our channel for more UFC and NCAA basketball and football content. Follow us on Twitter for a lot of great insight into all the ongoings of the leagues. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Namaste.
You are loved. All right.
Back to fighting. Here we go.
Here
All
we are.
right.
Now,
I just wound up my dog.
and I will be watching Tyler's dog next weekend. All
Yeah,
right.
she's making an appearance right now.
At just 34 years old, Cody Garbrandt is a bona fide vet of the sport who new fans should know about, regardless of how dark this is going to get. Now, Cody grew up in Ohio in a lower income family. His father was incarcerated, but his freshman year of high school, he became the state wrestling champion. Unfortunately, the crowds that he was running in and the drug and alcohol use throughout high school prevented him from ever re-attaining that state championship in wrestling. And things got pretty dark. Actually, his brother stopped an attempt on his own life. And after that, he started training MMA and he had a natural talent for it. In fact, if you see in the picture here, a local kid, Maple Maddox was his name. He was fighting cancer and he took to Cody Garbrandt's. He was a huge fan of his. Cody also resonated with the kid. They became very good friends. And during this historic rise Cody had in 2015 to 2016, Maddox was there the whole time. And it culminated when he fought the bantamweight GOAT, Dominic Cruz, for the undisputed championship. And in a performance that a lot of people describe as the best single performance anyone's ever seen in the UFC, this is Cody Garbrandt defeating Dominic Cruz, getting the belt, wrapping it around Maddox's waist. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Awesome.
However, you can then see what comes next is a rough patch for Cody. He was a part of Team Alpha Male headed by Uriah Faber, and TJ Dillashaw used to train at Team Alpha Male. However, he left to go start his own gym. It started a huge rivalry, and Cody Garbrandt was he was meant to be the flag bearer for Team Alpha Male. I think they put a lot of pressure on him to beat TJ. He loses to him twice. Second time, getting cracked, and some say that's kind of when he lost his chin, and it did get dark there. He lost, you can see 5 of 6. He had a 2-fight win streak put together, but he is currently on a 2-fight losing streak. Now, it's to set the stage because this guy is, like I said, he's a UFC vet. He'll be in the Hall of Fame one day. He unfortunately gets clowned a lot these days because he has a bit of a glass chin and he has some cringeworthy moments on the mic. Now,
Dang, dude. Yeah. You know what? All right. Can I get my words in since you just went
yes.
off? Okay. When looking at this, I looked at Zhao Long's stats because, like, it interested me in his build. Like, I wanted to go watch some of his highlights. And, okay. Knowing the awesome story you have of Gambran is gonna make me sound like such a jackass here.
Mm.
So look, I watched Xiao Long versus who was it?
Was it
Or just his
Chong
highlight
Hoi
reels,
Lee?
excuse me. No,
Okay.
just his highlight reels. And the one thing that really shocked me is he wasn't like what I expected, like a little like stinger, like rapid fire kind of guy. He does this fighting style, Kevin. I want to know if you can tell me what it is, where he gets like really up in the guy's face and kind of like uses his whole elbow to like kind of like his whole body weight's behind the punch. You know what I mean? Does that have a name?
Well, so when you're kind of like this is actually called the Philly shell. Fun fact. But I think the elbows, I believe he has a Muay Thai background maybe, or at least that's what
Okay.
leads me to believe, if he is nice with the elbows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so I'm gonna take him, and I'm not taking any decision, in all honesty, or I'm not taking method of victory, or unless you can I have to. Do I have to?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
For fun.
Well, I'm taking him with the point spread too, to be honest with you. And then I just because the numbers dictate it, and like you say, Garbrandt has
Garbrandt.
been getting clowned a little bit lately. And it's gonna also be a fatigue thing, man, and right now you gotta look at age a little bit with, 34 to 27-year-old. So, yeah, I'm gonna take Long with the point spread.
Hey, that's not a bad bet. He is the favorite. I do think, the UFC matchmakers had not done Cody any favors in the last 8 years. This does seem like a matchup that is favorable to him. I think they kind of threw him a bone. This is sort of, in my opinion, Cody's fight to win.
Mhm.
He's long. He's got some. He has some finishes. He has a number of finishes, but he's not. He doesn't have that huge power in his fist that has given Cody trouble in the past and just put him away with one shot. I think it should be a really interesting fight. I mean, Cody's very fun to watch on the feet. He moves around, so does Long. The reason why I'm going with Cody Garbrandt, though, this is the featured prelim bout, which means this is the last fight before the main card kicks off. Cody's actually 2-0 when he's put in the featured prelim spots. He's four
Okay.
and one whenever he's on a pay-per-view in the prelims. It seems like he has an issue with the pressure of being on the main card or the main event. Now, Long hasn't been KO'd in his last 25 fights, so I am going to call Cody Garbrandt by decision on this
Okay.
one. Lock it
You think he's
in.
gonna go the distance?
I think so. 3
Okay.
rounds, I think so. But
Okay.
we shall see. Some more Zen for the folks. Another kayak. Thank you for watching. Check out our stuff. We got Gregory Robocop Rodrigues versus the Hulk next in a rematch.
Have you forgot to move on?
Now, let's see. Let me go one more here.
There we go.
All right. So, fun fact about Gregory Rodrigues is he has a unofficial nickname of the Brazilian Obama. You can see there he kind of looks like Obama and Vin Diesel combined. Now he is going up against Bruno Ferreira. He's actually standing or replacing Paulo Costa, who was supposed to fight Ferreira, but he pulled out, I believe it was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. So it's not necessarily a short notice fight, but these two have fought before. I don't think this match would have been put together if it weren't for the replacement aspect of it. And when they did fight in 2023, Ferreira won by first round knockout. So Robocop is looking to avenge that.
While you're looking that up, Kev, I'm just gonna say, like, the RoboCop revenge thing. I've watched his highlights from like the matches since when he took that route against Rodriguez, and I just kind of think that he's got that chip on his shoulders a little bit, if that makes sense. He's been going the distance with these key matchups. So I'm gonna take him. This time I'm gonna go with submission.
Okay, submission. I do like that. That's you can see you get a good payout if you hit that. The only other thing I'll note about this, his fight against Jared Cannonier, you'll see it's the only loss in his last four. That was his first ever main event. So a main event's going to be 5 rounds instead of 3 rounds. And he was looking phenomenal in the first 2 rounds, piecing him up, almost finished Jared Cannonier, but fatigue set in. I mean, just from a biological standpoint, if you're super jacked like that, You
Right.
know, it takes a lot of work to condition those muscles to be able to go for 5 5-minute rounds. So fatigue set in, and Jared, I believe, ended up finishing him in the fourth round. These two have fought, I don't want to say similar opponents because the edge is certainly to Rodrigues in the level of opponent, but they've both faced some chins of steel, which is why it's even more impressive they've found as many finishes as they have. They faced some guys that just do not get knocked out. I mean, Ferreira's last fight was Marvin Vettori. I don't even think he's ever been knocked down. But yeah, I am also going with, now this is one where they've already fought. Bruno won by first round knockout.
Got a little
Why am I
rematch.
going RoboCop? Because I like him a lot. He's such an interesting fighter. He's so explosive. He's got the length, and I think he's going to get it done. He's been training with Reinier de Ritter as well, so look to see him get a win, and then root on his teammate in the co-main event. Let's see. I think that's all I had on this one. Shall we go on to the next one?
Let's go on to the next one. And hey, coming in hot from college basketball, Kev. Second half just begun. Michigan 32, Iowa 30. Still halftime. Rutgers, Michigan State 31, Rutgers 30.
Wow, those are two close ones. I'm gonna have to compete for your attention, and
You really are, man. But
you gotta
I still
think.
got the notes. Let's keep going.
Yeah, you got to think Iowa really wants this because if they beat Michigan, then they could lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament and they'd be
I,
fine in terms of the
yeah.
bid. So, all right, some Zen for the folks. If that basketball interruption wasn't Zen enough, our next fight, Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. Okay, these are two vets of the game.
Americans.
Their combined record is 30-26. Just their combined UFC record is 30-26. So 56 fights between the two of them. That's very impressive. A lot of people don't stay around in the UFC even to double digit fights. So they've got over 50 combined. That's very impressive. Now, my wife told me not to bring this up, but something about, listen, there's a lot of memes in the mixed martial arts world. All right. There's some meme finishes, like just
I'm
some,
very scared about what's
I
about
know,
to come
you
out of your
should be.
mouth.
So, like for instance, on the UFC embedded vlog series, they say whoever is shown getting the haircut is going to lose. You know, when they do
Okay.
the face-offs, whoever puts their arm around John Anik is going to lose. Now, there's something. I don't know if you can see that picture at the bottom of the screen. There's a different gear that Drew Dober seems to enter when fighting a
No,
certain
no, 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 no,
opponent.
no, 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 no,
That's all
no,
we're gonna
run,
say.
wrong, no, skip, no.
Then we'll go to the next slide. But that is just for your
We're
awareness.
cutting that.
In
We are
2022,
cutting that.
in 2022, Drew Dober had 3 straight KOs against Bobby King Green, Rafael Alves, and Terrence McKinney. All right. Now, this matchup is very exciting because Michael
My dog
Johnson
got wound up again.
for a time, 2023, 2024, he was considered on the way out. Oh, hello, doggy. Don't let Drew Dober see you, doggy. Okay. Now, Michael Johnson has fought everybody in the lightweight and featherweight division. So I'm just going to real quick, some of the UFC heads in this watching this might appreciate just this resume. So 2010 unanimous decision, Alex Caceres in the TUF season 12 finale, or no, in the semifinals. He went on to lose in the finale. In 2012, he beat Tony Ferguson, El Kukui, who right after that loss, that's when Tony Ferguson went on his historic 12-fight win streak. 2025, he beats Edson Barbosa, and he loses a decision to Beneil Dariush and Nate Diaz in 2025. So Barbosa, Dariush, Nate Diaz. 2016, he KOs Dustin Poirier, and he fights Habib Nurmagomedov and was submitted with the Kimura, where he almost broke his arm. That was when Habib was talking to him, saying, "You have to give up. I deserve this." Very cool. Then 2017, fought Justin Gaethje, lost. 2018, he beats the GOAT, Artem Lobov. 2021, loses a decision to Quay Guida. But now, 2024, 2025, as I said, he's riding a 3-fight win streak, all of which as the underdog, I believe. So he's gotten 3 wins in a row, all as the underdog. Not to be outdone, Drew Dober, rocky start in the UFC. He went 1-3-1 in his first 5 fights, but then he went won 8 out of 10. And after a round 2 TKO over Alex Hernandez, he was scheduled to fight rising prospect Diego Ferreira in
I'm
November
gonna let you
2020.
keep
Diego
monologuing
pulled
until I
out.
get a turn to talk.
I'll let you get a turn to talk. Diego pulls out, and Dober got thrown headfirst into the proverbial Dagestani shark tank. He lost to the now lightweight goat Islam Makhachev on March 6, 2021. He's streaky. He went 4-1 in 2022 to 2023, but he's trying to, or he just snapped a 3-fight losing streak, and he did that by round 1 TKO. He has 9 submission wins, and I believe Michael Johnson has been submitted 9 times. Rear naked choke is his preferred submission. Michael Johnson has been subbed with everything but a rear naked choke, a heel hook, a Kimura, an ankle lock, a Darce choke, also a rear naked choke. Anyway, set the stage pretty well there, I'd say. What do you got, Ty?
Yeah, okay, what do I have here? Drew Dober. He's had a lot of bad luck recently. I'm not even going to acknowledge the first point that Kev made. But then when it comes down to Michael Johnson, I did watch him against Zell Huber. The highlights of that fight. One thing I gotta say about that dude, to your point about the veteran status on this guy, his body is hardened. He can take a hit and just keep coming, man. Like I saw him take like a roundhouse full, like 180-degree roundhouse kick to the abs and just kept didn't stop. And I was like, Jesus, like that. I think I would lose one of my organs. Like I don't know how, but I would lose one of my organs if that happened. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna go with Johnson, and I think the odds makers agreed with me when I double checked. Yeah, they do. So I'm gonna take him, and then what do I let me get crazy here? No, I'm not gonna get crazy. I'm gonna take him by decision.
Okay. I'm also taking Michael Johnson. I think one thing about him is UFC bettors, MMA bettors will say he is one of the worst people to bet on a fight he's involved in because just very unpredictable. Like I said, won the last 3 fights as an underdog. I think it's going to take that kind of unpredictability to beat Drew Dober's streak that I mentioned earlier. So
Mhm.
we're going to go with Michael Johnson, and I think I put him down for a KO. We'll see when we get to the last slide. All right. Some more Zen. We got some mountains here. Not the Blue Ridge Mountains, but still very pretty.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look
All
at that
right.
great
Now
cone.
we
Isn't that
got,
nice, Kevin? Isn't that nice?
yes, Rob Font versus
Yep.
Raul Rosas Jr. is next. And Tyler, are you aware of Chiwiwis? Chiwiwis?
Uh,
Chiwiwis? That's Raul Rosas Jr.'s little fight call.
okay.
Gets a lot of attention. I think it's pretty cool. But I guess you don't. That's okay if you don't. I'm stalling for time here. All right. Raul Rosas Jr., El Nino Problema versus
Yeah.
Rob Font.
Rob Font. He's the Puerto Rican, correct?
Yes, Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Shout out Bad Bunny. Shout out Rob
All right.
Font.
Just shout out the guys. Let me start with this one, Kev. So I did watch Font. The one thing about this guy that I took watching some of his fights, he is just a bull in a glass house, man. He just goes in like trying to get a good hit in, but his defense falters easily. There are a lot of holes that I was seeing. It happened in his last fight with Martinez. Martinez just kept his defenses, and then was able to find those hold pockets, get some nice clean hits on him, and some really cool hits too. Martinez, Jesus, with the spinning roundhouse kicks.
Yeah.
Gotta love it, man. So for that reason, just watching Rob Font, I think he's going to make some mistakes because Rosas Jr. has like a very similar fighting style to Martinez, I think. And I think in that sense, this is just going to be a gas out for Rob Font. And we're going to go with Raul Rosas Jr. And I think because of the holes in Rob Font's defense, that Rosas Jr. is going to get one key hit in. It's going to knock him out. Give me the KO.
Dang, a KO. That's impressive. So, I did like a lot of what you were saying there. Now, Raul Rosas Jr., he's primarily a grappler. Most of his
Yep.
finishes are coming by submission. And I think you're right. I think Rob Font, if you are just standing at range and trading punches with him, it's going to be a bad day for you. I
Right.
think he's struggled with distance management.
There's no strategy in what he's doing. That's what is
And
like.
you need to be very aware of, your footwork, where you are in the cage when you're going against somebody. I mean, he's 21 years old, so he's just like a he's a cannon. He'll
Yep.
charge at him. If he gets his arms around you, then,
Dude, I
it'll
didn't even
probably be
notice the
not.
age gap. Going back to the
Yeah.
age gap, like, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
me so much
actually,
more confident in my pick.
Raul Rosas Jr. was given a contract at age 17 after getting a victory
Damn.
on Dana White's Contender Series. He vowed to be the youngest UFC champ at the time. Didn't quite happen. He had that setback against Christian Rodrigues, actually, common opponent, in his second
I don't know
UFC
how I
bout.
feel about the fact that UFC lets 17-year-olds fight, but okay.
Well, he was 18 before he ever competed on an actual UFC event,
I thought you just said he was
but
17 when he signed.
he was 17 when he won the contract on Dana White's Contender Series, which is like not technically a UFC sanctioned bout. However, if he gets a win, if he does take
Oh,
care
just
of
wait.
Rob, I think his next matchup will be against a ranked opponent. He's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of star power. Like I said, the Chiwiwis, people do like him. He puts on a good post-fight interview. And yeah, I think the one little maybe dark horse factor in this is that Rob Font's been training up in Canada at GSP's gym. The GSP, one of the all-time greats and a great wrestler.
Yep.
So maybe that can help him here. But I think I see Raul Rosas Jr. getting a takedown early while they're still dry before they get sweaty. And I think he might choke him out in the very first round.
Right.
Now we go to some more Zen. We got some rock stacked here.
I'm gonna mute
Thank
myself
you
again.
for watching. Tyler's going to cough a little bit. Don't look at that. And we will be looking at Caio Borralho versus Reinier de Ridder next. And
Wow, I completely butchered that Borralio's pronunciation there.
what do you
Jesus.
think it was?
Borralho.
That's not too bad. That sounds Portuguese, so you're close. Okay. To really go through this fight and just the implications of it, I'm going to do a quick rundown on the middleweight division over the last 9 months. Okay.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
August 16th,
I'm gonna be
2025.
half paying attention. I'm just letting you know.
This is more for the audience and our moms to get them caught up to speed. So
Right.
August 16th, 2025, Hamzat Chimaev defeats Dricus du Plessis, who was at the time one of the most exciting champs in the UFC. Hamzat Chimaev essentially smothered him, just laid on top of him, put him in a crucifix for 5 rounds. It was an impressive fight, but it was a boring fight. And there's still no title fight booked for Hamzat. So that was one fear back in August 2025 when he won, was that he wasn't going to be an active champion. That has came to fruition so far. But the asterisk on that one is Caio Borralho weighed in as the backup fighter for that fight, August 16, 2025, even though he was set to headline a main event in France, September 6, 2025. So about 2 weeks later, he was going to have to cut the weight again and main event. A lot of people thought that was kind of a foolish move, and it turned out to be true. I mean, you got to think, these guys are cutting anywhere from at their weight, middleweight, probably 25 to 30 pounds is what their weight cut looks like. So from Monday to when they weigh in Friday morning, they're cutting 25 pounds. Doing that twice in 3 weeks is not a good idea. And he lost to the number one contender, Nasruddin Imavov, who was supposed to be the
Mm,
number one contender. But
that was
again,
a great fight. That
Hamzat.
was a great fight. I watched the highlights of that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it was a good fight, even though, like I said, he was doing a second weight cut in less than 20 days. So
Well, actually,
October.
I take that back. Let me hop in. I mean, I'm kind of giving away some of my talking points, but it is what it is. I watched the highlights. First 3 rounds were like watching paint a little bit, but then they got like round 4 or 5, some good jabs, and there was no like wrestling movement whatsoever. It was just clean like street file, like trading knocks back and forth. Um, and I'm kind of stepping on what I'm going to talk about, but I'll let you keep it going.
Okay, I'll
And
try to run.
also, Michigan and Michigan State are starting to run away with them.
Interesting. All right, go Michigan, I guess. Go the glove state. All right. So October 18th, then Reinier de Ridder is actually scheduled to take on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez in what people are thinking might be the number one contenders match. But Fluffy has to pull out last minute. Brendan Allen takes his place. And I don't know if you came across this in your research, but this was our Reinier de Ridder's last fight, and he quit on the stool at the end of the fourth round. He gassed people.
Yeah,
People were,
that was one of my things to
yeah,
talk about was
people
how
were
Ritter, like, just yeah.
and it's not the first time he had gassed. Back before he was in the UFC, when he was in one championship, he gassed in a title fight as well and quit on the stool.
Gassed is when you just run out of breath and, like, give up, right? Okay.
Yeah, exhaustion. I think they call it technically retirement is how that bout ended.
Uh,
Anyway, this last weekend, Sean Strickland actually shocked the world and TKO'd Fluffy Hernandez with knees to the body. So right now in the middleweight division, the next title shot is probably going to go to Strickland or Imavov, but nothing's on the books because Hamzat is a very inactive champion, unfortunately. So now the reason I say all this, because an impressive win here by either one of these guys could set them up to jump the line for the next title shot. So those are the middleweight rankings. These are our opponents here. One quick
what
thing,
are we at?
if you'll see here about Reinier de Ridder, he fraud checked Bo Nickel, who is this undefeated wrestling
Yep.
prospect out of Penn State. He fraud checks him. I think he was a 3-1 underdog when he beat him, kind of a I've arrived moment. But then in his next fight, he himself was fraud checked. So
Mhm.
that's just a little bit of irony there. And now we get to the matchup here. Tyler, I'll let you go while I find my place in my
Yeah,
notes
nah,
here.
so I love Borralho.
Borralho.
Okay, yeah. His matchup against Imanov was I think what the telltale sign is here. He's able to connect with those punches over a long distance, you know what I mean? And like keep a good whatchamacallit, keep a good physique, not a phys I don't know what the hell the word I'm looking for, I'm spacing out, but he was able to keep his confidence, I'll say it that way. De Ridder, the exhaustion that he had when he was going against Allen was on full display. That match was also, like, on the ground a lot, if I remember correctly, like, there was a
Mhm.
lot more wrestling going on, so to speak. I don't think he's gonna have to worry about that watching
Borralho.
Okay, Borralho, because, he's just like a Knox guy. I keep saying that. So I'm going to go with Borralho still, though, just because I think he's going to be able to have more, not get fatigued, and give him to me in, well, let's not shake it up decision.
Decision, okay, that
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of smart money's going. Caio Borralho actually is a former math and chemistry tutor. He's logged over 1,000 games of online chess, so dork alert. But
Right.
he is with a team called the Fighting Nerds, fighting out of Brazil. Himself, Carlos Prates, Mauricio Hufi, and John Silva. At one point, they were 20-0 in the UFC as a team. However, they all four lost consecutively. That was Borralho's fight against Imavov. Everyone else on the team who lost in that streak has since came back with a defying victory and got back on track. So you kind of think, the blueprint's there. They do have a great team. They have a very analytical based team, where they're looking at frame rates for shots, what a person does when they're about to go for a takedown, all these tells, and it's produced some great highlight reel finishes. Just to name a few: bulldog choke, spinning heel kick, spinning
Oh,
elbow. Actually, Caio Borralho's first fight in the UFC, illegal knee to a grounded opponent caused a technical decision. I'm This was one I went back and forth on, just because I don't think Reinier de Ridder should be a 2-1 underdog in this. It's just UFC fans and bettors especially are just very, very queasy about what they just saw. And I think quitting on the stool was such a bad look.
It is a bad look, man.
Even though that was at the end of the fourth round. This fight's only going to 3 rounds. We'll see. I mean, RDR, he's
What's a worse look, trying to fake for a DQ or gas on the stool?
man, those might be equal.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. The thing about quitting on the stool is it's tough because he was going against a grappler. He could have theoretically just got up and then let himself get choked out and tap. That's kind of, I think there's some sort of like an unsung rule where you give up the neck and they'll just do a rear naked choke on you and you tap out. You can get out of the fight that way. Quitting on the stool very rarely happens. And yeah, so I think quitting on the stool is a tougher look, especially because I'm still standing for Bellato. I don't think he faked the knee. Okay, the only other note, I think a submission by RDR is very possible because
Oh,
he has that grappling accolades, grappling experience. He's very long and lanky. He's a very awkward looking fighter. He's got a ginormous rib cage. So I'm excited for this one.
yeah.
I couldn't say I'm confident in my pick, but
Yeah, you're betting against the economy on this one
how do you say? How do you
because I
mean?
feel like all the money's gonna be on Borralho.
Oh, I'm going with Borralho. Did I forget
Oh,
to
I
say
thought you
that?
said Ritter.
No, I don't think he should be a 2-to-1 underdog. And the fact that he
Oh,
is makes me kind of want to throw some money on there, but no, I'm picking Borralho.
gotcha.
I also like him as a dude. He seems very interesting from his
You guys boys.
we play chess together. He actually tutors me in math. All right. Ladies and gentlemen,
Attention.
it is time
Attention. Thank you for
for
watching. Remember to like and subscribe.
the
Follow us on
main
Twitter.
event. The main event of the evening. Now, Tyler, question for you.
Hit me.
You know what BMF stands for?
Big male friend.
No. Okay. Good. It is kind of a fake belt. I don't know if you came across sort of criticism about the belt, about the BMF
No,
belt
I've not
itself.
not even a little. But why don't
Well,
you
so
enlighten me?
it stands for baddest mother.
Ah,
Anyway, I think it was actually taken from WWE. I think they had a similar thing. And back in November of 2019, essentially the UFC needed to have a title fight to headline a pay-per-view, and they didn't have any title fights they could put together. So they kind of just made up an imaginary belt, the BMF title, and they put Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, who were, to be fair, they're pretty bad dudes. They're people's fighters, people's champs, exciting, love to scrap, tough as they
mhm.
come. Unfortunately for this fight in November of 2019, ended due to doctor's stoppage because Nate Diaz got a cut on his eye. And so the doctor had to come in and tell these two bad mother effers that they can't fight anymore because somebody got a cut. So that's why there wasn't another BMF title fight until July of 2023. And Tyler, that was actually when you came over to my apartment and you watched this one. I believe Sam was there.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Was that
Justin
the Dave
Gaethje,
G. Holloway fight?
that was Gaethje Poirier when he
Ah,
got the head kick KO. I think you bet.
yes.
I can't remember if you bet on Gaethje or Poirier,
I
but when
did.
it
I
happened,
did.
you had there was a loud exclamation. Then UFC 300, Justin Gaethje puts it on the line against Max Holloway, and that's where I don't know if you saw this famous last second KO.
Yes, but I had some thoughts on that. He needed
Okay,
to poke both of his eyes out early on in the match in order to win.
he there was one in it. The main thing was at the end of the
2
first
back to
round.
back.
What?
There was 2 back to back, both eyes.
True. Yeah, but that was in the second round, right? Because at the end of the
Right.
first round, he had the spinning side kick or back
Right.
kick,
Now,
and
and
it
I
broke
look, it
Justin
was
Gaethje's nose.
badass. I'm just saying it was
Yeah.
a dishonorable way to start.
Well, I mean, you could say kind of a little bit of full circle karma because Justin Gaethje now has the interim light heavyweight championship belt. That was the card back in January, and he beat Paddy Pimblett, and he had two pretty nasty eye pokes in there.
Okay.
So it is, and yeah, but no, you do bring up a good point. Was it a fluke? I don't know because, like I said, that spinning back kick broke Justin Gaethje's nose at the end of the first round, and it
Yeah.
was
Oh, yeah.
kind of,
He was like a
it was,
faucet. You could see him like,
yeah,
because he couldn't breathe out
yeah.
of his nose and everything. Yeah.
And Justin Gaethje, just like from watching his interviews and stuff, he's one of those like he really likes to like catch his breath and do like breathing stuff in between rounds. So if you have a
Couldn't do
broken
that.
nose, that's gonna throw that off. Anyway, then most recently over the summer, Max Holloway defeated Dustin Poirier,
Yep.
defended this BMF belt, and that brings us to like
Now,
a legendary main event here.
I would like to say something here, Kevin. Oliveira,
Oliveira, yeah.
okay, is a scary individual looking wise. Watching his fight against Garbrandt, that guy is a spider monkey. He
Oh yeah.
will climb all over you. He will find ways to contort your body in ways you wish you never knew existed. Good Lord. So, My only point here is because Holloway put that bad vibe in my head from the very first highlight I saw of him versus Gaethje to seeing Oliveira. I'm gonna,
Oliveira.
but there's an I.
It's Portuguese, man. R's are H's.
Whatever.
Oliveira. Whatever.
Sure. I'm taking him, and I'm gonna take him in submission.
Wow. I mean, hey, this is kind of, this is convergent evolution because not to give away my pick, but I am doing the same actually, for a different reason. Just to go back through the accolades of this fight, these two fighters, this is the record for the most combined UFC wins in any UFC bout in history. 47 combined wins between these two. Charles Oliveira has the most finishes of any UFC fighter, most performance of the night bonuses. Max Holloway has the record for the most significant strikes landed in the UFC. So, like I said, this could not be a better matchup. The problem is I love Max Holloway, and I also really like Charles Oliveira. So it's one where, I guess I'll be happy and sad for whoever wins and loses, the thrill and the agony there.
Dude,
But
just seeing Oliveira perched at the beginning of that fight where he's down on his knees. He's like got like this like wraith almost energy about him.
He's a scary dude. And
right? Yeah.
the reason why I went back and forth, most people are taking Max Holloway. I mean, going away, most fighters, most pundits, they're all taking Max Holloway. There's one thing I noticed. I was watching his interview with Daniel Cormier earlier this week, and he kept saying, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's something he says from time to time. The times when he says that the most, I can remember his third fight with Alexander Volkanovski, which he famously lost, and then the Ilia Topuria fight. I don't know. It's a weird thing where, like, when he was fighting Dustin, when he was fighting Justin, even when he was fighting, like, the Korean Zombie or Arnold Allen, like, he's very chill, very cordial, very, like, respectful of the opponent, almost as, like, try and be bros with them. When he fought Volk, when he fought Ilia, and I got hints of it this week, I don't know, like he's not scared of them by any means, but just like he's trying to intimidate them. And I don't know how to put it. I watched it. I watched the interview with DC. I'm going to watch the press conference tonight. I might change my tune, but he seems to have the same vibe that he's had in his only career losses, really. So that's why I'm going against the Hawaiian, going with Charles Oliveira, and who knows what'll be next because both these guys, they want the BMF belt. BMF belt's really cool, but they're here for the lightweight championship, They're here for a different belt. This is almost kind of like a token to get there. So you got to think the winner of this one, their next fight will probably be for the undisputed lightweight championship. Very excited to watch this. I think it should be electric. I have him round 4 submission, I believe. So,
you went with rounds. Good for you.
Yeah, I don't feel confident on any of the rounds, but.
All right, so I'm going to Kev. Okay, you have the rounds in there. So, Kev, what I'll do is at some point tomorrow, I will fill this out with all the stuff I just said because now it's actually like I'll put like a fourth of a unit on these since I'm dipping my toes into the water. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I will actually track this shit.
You should post it on Twitter once you fill out the table.
We'll post this on Twitter. That's a great idea. And also, talking on gambling, Kevin, I want to switch to college basketball for 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm going to hijack you for 1 second.
Go for it.
This season, we all know what I was like in college football. Was I a good gambler? No. Now, college basketball, I have made 3 picks this year, 20 units or more. Guess what my record is on those 3 picks?
You're 3-0, right? The most recent was North Carolina, Syracuse, 3.5.
3.5.
They've
Kevin, that was on my birthday. The divine intervention.
Yeah.
With Clemson trying to take the shot at the last second. 0.6 seconds on the clock, Kevin. And they make the dumb mistake when it's bonus plus of fouling right underneath the basket. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Trimble then who went up. Only made one of the 3 throws. I cover by half a point.
That was beautiful. I felt because I
So
told you not to cash out, and I
told me, you and Jared both told me not to cash out. And I was like, all right, I ride with the boys. Now I'm going to give away the fourth one. Take it at your own risk. The line hasn't dropped yet. Duke and UNC are playing on Saturday night.
Mhm.
UNC beat Duke the first time around. Duke is hotter than ever. It's going to be played. I forget if it's at Duke or UNC, but oh well. If that number opens up at 7.5 or better, I'm going 25 units on Duke.
Okay. Let's see. I believe it is in Duke, right? Also, big game Saturday, UVA, Virginia Tech, noon. Duke, UNC, it's at Duke. Yeah, no
There it is.
line yet.
No, yeah, they haven't. They've been stingy with the lines lately. I don't know why.
6:30 PM. Yeah. I mean, that
Dude,
first game between them delivered, so, yeah.
and the one thing you got to give props to UNC with still being able to be in the discussion, even not having Caleb Wilson right now.
Yeah. They they look good. Hey, maybe we'll do a basketball video sometime.
Yes. Okay. Look. Okay. We need to be working together here, Kev, not
Yes.
against each other. Okay. All right. Whatever. All right. Do you have anything final comments or?
No.
Okay.
Thank you all for watching.
Thank you all for watching. We will do a college basketball episode at some point, and we'll get the information out to all you beautiful people if you want to join the March Madness Challenge.
Oh, yes, good call.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Peace. Did you end it?
Yeah.